Hello.
Again, welcome. If you are just joining, fantastic. If you were with us before, thank you for coming back. I'm trying to get over to the YouTubes. I signed into my Gmail account and now I can't find my Oak and Lamb account. That's problematic. Welcome to the Oak and Lamb YouTube channel. My name is Becca Oaks. I'm an owner and craft educator here at Oak and Lamb, and this is Fred Myers, my brother. And I did mention earlier that he is an XTool extraordinaire, but he does not agree. Compared to me, he is. XTool sent us this machine, and he was really excited about it and has taken it and run with it. What's your favorite thing to make with it?
Tumblers, hands down. Love them.
I love making tumblers.
What's your least favorite thing to make with it?
Wood. Anything wood.
Okay. And why? Why don't you like it?
Because wood is so random as far as the grain patterns causing the laser to do weird things and glue joints causing the laser to do weird things. It's hit or miss, and if you're just cutting something, if you buy like MDF or you go and get basswood from one of the craft stores, it works a whole lot better. If you're just trying to cut, say like the tops of these tables or something like a cutting board, it's not fun. I have messed up more than I have perfected for sure.
So also, you like predictability?
Yes, I do very much like predictability. However, I can tell you that even tumblers aren't predictable.
The other thing about this particular one is that it's a 10 watt.
Correct.
So it's not going to cut as deep or as fast as a 20 watt, 40
Correct.
watt, whatever.
Like this, the jig that I have in here right now is it's cut out of 1/8 inch plywood, and it was a 2-pass job. It was not a single pass, so it takes longer. You have to cut really slow. You have to be careful not to cut so slow that you start a fire. And 100%, this unit doesn't come with the air assist, but if you get the air assist, it will definitely help for you to cut wood quicker.
So what is air assist for those who don't know?
So
what is air assist?
What air assist is it's a pump that actually forces air down the same path that the laser is going, so that it blows the soot away from where you're cutting so that it won't ignite.
So does it help with ventilation at all, or does it just help with cutting faster?
A little bit with ventilation, but I would say mostly just to keep the lens clean and to like you said, dissipate. It cools it. It will help cool down the wood. It helps cool down in the metal, even when you're etching. A lot of people will say don't use it for etching. I haven't had any issues etching with it, and the reason that I continue to use it is to keep the soot from burning the paint off of like powder coated tumblers from getting up into the nozzle and coating the actual lens of the laser. So
now let's say we have a bunch of people here that have hopped on our live from our other content. They don't know what's on the table right now. They don't know what it does. Like, start from the very beginning. What do we have here today?
Okay, this is an XTool D1. This is the discontinued model. The new one now is the Pro, which the main differences that I can see from it are there's limit switches to keep the laser heads from hitting the rails, and it also has a fire detection system built into it. But
so
this
just
is
a couple more safety features.
Sure. And this is the 10 watt module, as Becca said. They have a 20 and a 40, and I believe they have an infrared module for the XTool Pro,
a
D1 Pro.
Laser.
Yes, it is a diode laser. It is not a CO2 laser or a fiber laser.
What is the price roundabout for this type of laser?
I'll have to turn that over to you. I have no idea.
So the ones I'm seeing for this brand are around $800.
That sounds about right for this one.
So that's very affordable.
Oh yeah, it's a good entry point for somebody who wants to get into this. If you're wanting to cut tumblers, the only way that you can do that is if you get the RA2 Pro attachment with it. And I definitely recommend the RA2 Pro over the RA, because the RA had rollers and this has an actual chuck that the tumbler fits into that you can clamp down on. So it's way more accurate than the rollers, because the rollers, the cup has a tendency to scoot. One hack that I have seen is that you can put in like a bag of rice inside the tumbler to help weigh it down, but it's not as clean of a cut and not as accurate of a cut as you can get with the chuck.
So before, like, this is an $800 laser, right? How much was the chuck?
They're about. Do you know what those are, Rachel? I
Under
don't know off the top of my
$200.
head. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we're looking at $1,000 for this setup, basically. You can't do tumblers with a Glowforge, which is a $6,000 machine at this point. You can't do a tumbler. There's no way to do it. It doesn't come with any sort of attachments to do that with. The bed of it, you can only cut, half an inch. You can only do like two. It's insane to me that you have a $6,000 machine, which I love my Glowforge. Don't get me wrong, I do love it. But then this $1,000 machine can do even more. And it just depends on what you want to do with it. If you're wanting to cut the wood and create like the door hangers and the wall hangings and things like that, this machine is not for you.
No,
because
absolutely not.
A 10-watt laser, you're not going to be able to cut through that wood, and you're not going to be able to do it
It'll
quickly.
take you forever.
Two, this obviously is not enclosed. If you have little children around
Yeah.
who might think this is a fun light to put their hand in, that's no bueno, right? Like,
Well, and the smells that come off of the laser and stuff,
Right.
like once it starts burning the coatings and thing off, so they're
you
not the
can
best.
get enclosures for them.
Correct. There are enclosures that are vented.
And how big are those?
Not a
that you
whole lot bigger than what
purchased?
you're looking at now. Basically, the unit would fit inside of it. Just fit inside
The
it.
advantage of this, though, like if we wanted to engrave this table,
It's awesome.
set it on there
Yeah.
and do that. So, like, there's advantages to both, really.
Correct.
You just need to decide what you want to do with a laser before you purchase one.
And does this have to be vented?
Doesn't have to be, but I definitely recommend it. Currently,
I'm
I
gonna
run.
smell it today.
Yeah, currently I run mine right at the edge of the garage because I don't have something that's vented. So I just, it is wireless or something, so it blows all of the soot and things out the garage door.
So get your questions ready. We are going to be answering these as we go through. We've covered a lot of it right here. But the way this is going to work today, Fred has already set up a graphic. We're going to put it on this guy right here. We're actually going to give this away too. So that's exciting. He gets to choose who gets it. We'll figure that out in a minute. It'll kind of be random.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start cutting this because it'll take about 20 minutes. So while it's cutting, he's going to then go to another computer, I don't know which one we're using, and talk to you about the program, talk to you about importing files, what kind of files, how to kind of manipulate, I guess. Before we get started, you can use all the Oak and Lamb cut files that are on the website with this machine.
Oh,
So
yeah.
with
use
laser
several.
cutters, yeah. So they're great for that. If you know how to make SVGs, then you know all that you need to know in order to make custom designs for laser cutters. So
And
that's
my
really nice.
favorite thing about this is there's no material like a vinyl. You don't have to seal this. You don't have to, worry about putting it in the dishwasher. I mean, it's permanent. It's sleek.
20
It looks
minutes and
so
you're done.
professional.
Yeah.
I love a good professional looking craft like this.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. And I haven't even priced things like this. Like if you customize, for instance, the Stanleys, what are they, like $40 for a Stanley? And then if you're customizing that, in general, I say a $20 customization fee. Now, if you're creating a cut file, creating a graphic specifically for them, then you're looking at an extra charge on top of that because you have your time to create that. I want to encourage you. If you are designing graphics, if you are putting time into creating graphics, putting things together for customers, you need to be charging for that time. It's not, because sometimes if you're going back and forth with your customer, then there's several edits to it. You have all of these hours back and forth. Make sure you're charging for that graphic design work. Do not do it for free. Now,
Becca hit it. There it is.
sorry. If you are, one thing that I would consider when you're starting out specifically is to create some designs that can just be changed out with name and things like that, and then have just a couple of fonts that they can
Absolutely.
choose from.
Yeah.
They get overwhelmed. If there's too many choices, they just get overwhelmed, right? But if you're doing like a whole order of 20 tumblers or something like that for a team or a company or something like that, then make sure you are charging for your time.
Oh, yeah.
Fred, James says hi, Daddy.
Hi, James.
Is Jamesy on?
Oh, there he is.
Yes. Hello, Daddy from James. Well, Fred, you're doing such a great job today. You're going to have to do more in the future, He already knew that. Yes, Kat, we need to push XTool to send them a P2 for review. Amy, we said it earlier, but that's kind of what we're hoping. We're hoping that people love this content, that it gets shared a lot. In fact, one thing that I want to say, we're probably going to, I haven't even told Fred, we're going to do 2 of these. And one we'll give away today live, and the other one we're going to give away probably in 2 weeks or something. And one of the criteria is that you share this video on your social media platform and then come back and comment and let us know that you did that. And those who come back and comment to let us know they did will be randomly selected for one of these. So this is just going to have the Oak and Lamb logo on it. It's going to be really cute. Anyway, go ahead. Take it over.
Sweet. So one thing I will tell you, as you start doing these, this right here is your best friend. This is just blue painter's tape. If you want to practice where a design's going to go, what the design's going to look at on the tumbler, wrap it with this stuff. Use it. I have several tumblers here like this one. This one has been used, and I've cut multiple things on it. If you mess one up, keep it as a test.
Yeah, go to the overhead so they can see that.
It's just it has been worked to death.
So he's done speed tests on this.
Yeah, and I'll get to the speed test when we switch to the software, and I'll kind of go over that and explain how to do those, why you want to do them. But like I said, wrap it in this blue painter's tape and cut one that you've already kind of messed up and get you a setting for the blue painter's tape that will only score the tape. And like this one, I've wrapped in painter's tape I don't know how many times and used it to make sure that the logo is going to look right. One thing you can, on any round object on a tumbler like this, if you don't stretch it a little bit, it's going to look more like an oval than a round shape. So you can play with that kind of. I usually use like a 10% rule of thumb of stretching it to make it look like it is actually round. So go through the steps of this. I have already measured these. I use these cups a lot. They cut really well. They're inexpensive and they look really professional once you've cut them.
What is that, like a tall brand 20 ounce?
It's 18 or 20, but if you get these at Walmart, I think this was $8 maybe. They work really well. My son has one that I cut for him that it had ice in it for 24 hours or something. They still work really well. And
Fred, we have a friend asking, is this a good entry beginner model of
100%, because this one, and I'll show you some of this in a little bit. This one, you don't really have to worry about where the laser head is in relation to the thing. You can actually set the laser head where you want it to start instead of having to give it a coordinate or something like that to where it will come over and start the laser there.
Now, it's a good entry unless you're wanting to work with wood.
Yeah, if you want to work with wood, you need to get at least the 20 watt. The 40 watt is what I would recommend, but the 20 watt will work. So with this and the chuck, you want to go overhead, Rachel, so we can. So what you have to do first is you measure this cup, you measure around the perimeter, and that was, I know on a live a few weeks ago, I was telling you guys that I have actually switched and started using millimeters instead of inches, because for things like this, it makes it ridiculously easy. So now I know that this is 24 centimeters or 240 millimeters. All you do is add a 0 on the end of it to make it millimeters, because Creative Space and Lightburn both use millimeters. So we see 24 centimeters, so 240 millimeters. You have to put that in to the program and tell it that you're going to use the chuck and that the perimeter of it is 240 millimeters. So then we just stick this in here, and this has a chuck on it a lot like a drill would. If you've used a drill press, anything like that, it's got a chuck that works exactly like that. So you stick this in here, kind of roll it around, make sure that the back of it is pushing up against these legs the whole time so that it stays level. If it doesn't stay level, then your cut will not, it won't cut correctly, because your laser will be focused in different spots as it comes down the side of the cup.
I haven't been listening. You may have already covered it. Let's talk about, this is not a contour tumbler.
Correct.
So how would we do a contour tumbler?
So if you have a tumbler that is tapered like this, what you have to do is you have to, you would stick it in here, and then you could stick some shims under the back of this to level it. As long as the top of it is level, then it stays the same. your focus would stay the same and it will cut just fine. So you can't just leave it regular. Oh
so
yeah.
Did it come with this?
Yes, it did.
It came with this. You just set it on top, and you would do the same thing with this. Once you get this level, you would just put it on here and make sure that it is level, and then you would be good to go.
Correct.
That's nice.
Yes, it is very nice. But once you get it in here, you set the level. Make sure your bubble's good. Bubble's good. It's nice and level. Now what I have is an aftermarket piece that I've bought. They have a new accessory kit that's coming out that, excuse me, as soon as it comes out, I'm buying one, that actually has a laser that stands here that shoots a laser line down the middle of the cup, because you need to have the cup, you need to know where the highest point of the cup is, and this is the highest point of the rotary, so the highest point of the cup is obviously has to be down the same line as the rotary. So you'll have this in here, and this aftermarket piece I bought actually shows the center. So what I do is I put the laser, and these crosshairs are from the laser, on the middle of that, and then let me back up. Before you do that, you need to focus the laser, and the best way to focus this laser is it has an arm on the side that you drop down, you unscrew the side, come over here, and I put it right on the top of this. That way I know this is the center. So now I leave the the y-axis alone, so it's not going forwards or backwards, and you just slide the laser over, pick it up, let it touch. Once it's touched, you screw it back down, make sure it's good and tight. It will, like this does start to wear a little bit. I think they have a new way that they're doing these, because this does start to push into the metal some and wear out. But once that's done, kick the kickstand back up. Now you are focused where you want to be. With this one, we go back here, get it on this line, and pull it down the cup. Now you can see I'm on the center of the cup. So if I want to center my logo with their current logo that they have on here, I would just turn the tumbler until the tip of the logo is with the laser.
I have to say, for this to be an $800 machine, this is so much easier, in my opinion, to line things up on your blank than the Glowforge. I have one of
The
my
cameras
biggest
are tough
complaints-
sometimes.
One of my biggest complaints is that the camera is not always super accurate on my Glowforge.
It's a fisheye camera so that they can get the whole thing, and as you move towards the edge, the P2 has a camera in it, but it just distorts some, so it makes it a little more difficult to get lined up if you don't do it exactly right.
And we have a good question here. When and why would you want a CO laser instead of a diode laser?
So a CO2 laser will cut clear acrylic. A diode laser will not cut clear acrylic and glass. The CO2 will do clear acrylic and etch glass. A diode laser, if it's clear, will not cut or etch it. I have had success in taking glass and getting an acrylic marker and blacking out the spot that I want to etch the glass, and it allowed me to actually etch the glass on it.
You could also mask with a tape.
I haven't tried that, but I have read that you can do that as well. But a CO2 laser, it's a different wavelength. The wavelength of the diode laser passes straight through clear acrylic or clear glass, and it doesn't affect it.
Mine stopped working because the laser won't connect to my laptop. I hope he'll say something about that. Fran, is everything up to date on your laptop?
Yeah, check your drivers, check the firmware of the laser, check
Is your operating system compatible with the drivers?
There's a lot of things that could go into that.
Definitely call them. I would think that they have
I haven't dealt with their support, and I've read mixed reviews, but most of them have been really good reviews.
I have no knowledge about these things. This is pretty intimidating, if I'm being honest. Christina, I mean, anything that you start out new is going to be intimidating.
Absolutely.
If you have no knowledge on it, but that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, I was scared to death of it when I first turned it on. I was like, what can I cut? What's going to mess it up? Am I going to start a fire? I have a friend at work, and we played with it a lot, and he and I we just cut things. And like I said, I don't know if I showed, this cup has been cut, recut. I have several of these that have been messed up, and then I just keep reusing them. Just get you a few, like I had some scrap wood back in the garage when I first got it, and I just got that and started cutting things in it and playing with it.
It's the same thing like when you got your Cricut. Were you not nervous when you opened your Cricut? And nervous about wasting materials or how long things were going to take or learning the new software? It's the exact same thing. And so if you find a group of people or somebody that you trust and you like how they educate, it's really nice to be able to just jump in and then ask them questions and learn from them. And you know, that's why we're here.
There are tons of YouTube videos out here for these lasers. I 100% Oak and Lambs, or recommend Oak and Lambs because they're the better ones. But
can you turn my mic up, Rach? They're saying I'm not loud enough.
It's where your mic's at.
Well, I can't. Just put it down here and make it look real nice. What file are you going to use today? We're just going to use an Oak and Lamb file because we are going to be giving this one away. It's just the Oak and Lamb logo, so we'll place it on.
You want to switch to my computer real quick, Rachel, and I'll show them.
And then he was going to do my tumbler, and I was going to do a cute. I got poo-pooed because my tumbler apparently is too big.
It's massive.
It's the big one. He thought it was the same size as Anna's.
So we've got the Oak and Lamb logo we're going to use here. Currently, I have it turned sideways. So one thing, and I'll kind of go over this a little bit more once we get into the actual looking at the software. But if you take the laser and you look at the laser with the XTool logo facing you to where you can read it, and the XTool logo is facing you with the rotary, then what you see, how you see the logo in Creative Space is how you're going to cut the logo on the cup. So if you see currently I have the top of the acorn is facing this way, so I want the top of the acorn to be at the top of the cup. And so if you do that, you will make sure that that it's always pointing the correct way. I had some trouble. I had some that were reversed and things like that. Always keep it with XTool facing you and XTool facing you, and then this will be exactly how you want to cut it on the cup, the 100% every time. So we're going to change this over to Engrave, and I've cut these tall cups so many times I have a setting that I know works really well.
What is the setting?
The setting for these is for the 10 watt. Now that's another thing you got to take into consideration. The 10 watt settings will be different than the 20 watt settings or the 40 watt settings. They're all different because they're different power. Because the power is, I wish they would come up with some way to change the power from a percentage to something that is transferable across all of them. I don't know exactly how they would do that. I'm working on some ideas on that. But currently it's a percentage of, excuse me, percentage of the power that so you know, 100%, this is 10 watts. 50% is 5 watts. And then, so you always set the power and the speed. So if you're cutting at 100 speed or 100% at a slower speed, then you're going to get way more power, and that's how you would cut wood. Then the other setting that you have is the lines per centimeter. And if you think about those, that are kind of like DPI for a printer, so dots per inch. So it's the more intricate that the graphic is, the higher the DPI will need to be, or not DPI, but LPC, whatever theirs is, to be able to get a good resolution on your graphic when you cut it. So I know that these tumblers look good with a when they're about 60% wide, because you know, a curve, you're going to start not seeing the logo. So
yeah, and the smaller the tumbler or the cup, then the smaller obviously you want your graphic. Correct.
So I know that this 66 in the, you know, the other thing is it converts it to height now instead of width. You just got to remember to look at it in the same plane as with the laser. So we've got the settings set, and then what we do now is we tell the laser to process it. So now it's going to go through and it's going to say, this is what it's going to look like when you cut it. Are you okay with that? The next thing that we're going to do is frame this. Framing is very important. I will not stipulate enough how many times framing has saved my rear end, because if you go in, there's two modes for this. There's a flat mode, which if you're going to cut wood or anything like that, and there's the rotary mode. And if you forget to change that over to the rotary, then the laser will start moving back and forth instead of only moving side to side and letting the rotary turn the cup. So framing the cup is, or framing anything you're doing will show you if you're about to make a mistake. So what I will do now is so that it's repeatable, if I wanted to cut this again, I always measure from the top of the cup and I come down. I like the way about 1 centimeter looks down from these, maybe 1.5 centimeters for this one since the logo's got that tall part on it. And so from there, I know that this is 9 centimeters, so it's not going to reach down to their logo. So once that's set, I've got it centered, I've got it set, and if you look, are we on my computer or on the overhead?
I'm switching back and forth.
I'll switch to the computer for just a second. One thing that I forgot to mention is this box over here tells the laser where it wants to start. So I have it centered, so if I choose this is the top of our graphic and the very center of our graphic. So it makes lining these things up really easy. So if you've got a circle and you want to cut the middle of you want to put it right in the middle of the circle, you find the middle of the circle and you would switch to this setting and the laser will start in the middle of the circle and go and do the image from there. So a lot easier. Use this. This is going to be your best friend as far as getting these things lined up correctly.
You can't choose that in Glowforge either.
Wow.
I know, this is very interesting. They are all saying you're doing an amazing job. Kat said, Fred, you're doing an awesome job at explaining this. You can tell you're familiar with programming as some people overcomplicate the process.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, is in my job, I do a lot of training and try my best to, you can talk over people's heads and you start seeing their eyes glaze over, and that's not good. Like they're not learning anything and you're not getting anywhere with them. So I try to break it down, and I'm not gonna say dumb it down because that's not it. Once you've learned this, the learning curve feels really slow or really low. But when I first started, I was like I said, I was intimidated by it. So we're gonna frame this. And if you'll come back to the overhead, once you hit the frame button on the computer, it arms the XTool, and you'll see there's a blue. Can they see the light?
Yep.
Okay. There's a blue blinking light here now, so that means that it's ready to be framed. So once that's ready, we make sure that this is lined up where we want it. Make sure it's not going to hit these chuck arms. I've done that too. Then we hit the button. Of course, now it's going to error out. I've never had it error out at all. Hold on.
He did have a dream last night. He had a craft fail on the live.
Sending file
Not that I'm
failed.
speaking that into existence.
Well, and I told Rachel as many times as I've made fun of her for setting things on fire. Oh, now I can't find the device. Let me try a different USB cable. Hold on one second. This one's kind of loose.
Is that the one? There's one in the back of the printer.
That's the one I got out of the printer.
Oh.
Our printer cord's not good enough for you, Fred.
I have a ton more too, Fred. Remember that one time, Rach, that we plugged an HDMI cord in thinking that it should work really well, and it turns out it was like 1,000 feet too long, and we thought that was ridiculous?
Yeah, and Chris said it's because it's too long, and we're like, that's stupid.
That's the dumbest
and he
thing
plugged
I've
in like
ever
a
heard.
6-foot cord, and it worked perfectly. We were like, sorry.
We'll try this one and see. I usually use this wireless, so I don't use the USB a whole lot. And my one beef with the wireless, just so that you know, being a cybersecurity engineer, having a cybersecurity background, if still can't find it. The password cannot have any special characters in it. Really grates on me.
I personally love that.
Really grates on me. So I had to set up a separate network.
I made Fred his very own OpenLAM account so that he could download the cut files and use them.
And I have.
Made him a great username, made him a fantastic password, and he changed the password.
Of course I did.
It had a ton of amazing characters in it.
It did.
Yes, Trisha, it is 100% best to do this in a big area with good ventilation.
Yes, very much so.
Not like here.
We're about to inhale
Don't
it.
do what I say, not what I do. The other thing is too, is technically you should have goggles on for this.
Wait, we have goggle, Becca.
Wait a minute, Fred.
Wait.
But you have to wear them.
What are these? The beer goggles? Oh no, not this kind of goggles. Wonderful. Yeah, no, this is not them either. These do not filter out diode light.
Oh no, those do.
Oh, Becca says they do. It reflects it back, so it's going to hit Rachel in the face. No. Okay, now I think we're good, so we're going to try to frame this again. Hit the button and cross our fingers. Hey, looky there.
Sometimes you just have to restart machines.
And use a better USB cable.
No, it was the restart. Certainly.
So if you guys watch, when we do this, you can see that it's going to go over. It's going to come down the side. We're golden. We're not hitting anything. It's lining back up. Once when it rehomes, it lines back up with the logo. Everything looks good. So now once we've finished the framing, we hit framing complete. We start the machine and sends it over. Now the machine is ready to cut. We'll hit the button again. That's another thing that kind of bothers me, and they may do it for safety and for other things, but so what I have started doing is uploading my my files to my iPad, because the app is on the iPad as well. And so I'll do all my creation on my laptop, save the file out to the cloud. They have a cloud part of their software, and then walk out with my iPad, start the framing, hit the button, make sure the framing looks good, and then start the process with my iPad and hit the button, so I don't have to keep walking back and forth from my laptop to the...
Are all the features on the software free?
Yes. Creative Space is free, 100%. No licensing, no nothing.
Go forward, you have to have, like, to access the pro features and, like, save specific designs and things like that, you have to pay for it.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So we're ready to go, and we're going to get this cutting so that we don't waste all of the time, because I want to show you guys at the end what it's going to look like.
How long will this take?
In the other screen, if you look down in the bottom left-hand corner, it says it's going to take about 19 minutes.
I don't.
Are you waiting to
smell
smell it?
To be honest, smells like burnt something.
So the big things before you start: make sure that your settings are right, make sure that the orientation's correct, and make sure you're not going to hit anything when the laser moves back and forth. And now this is just going to go, and there's nothing else you have to do to it for right now.
Yes, you could use this to engrave tabletops. In fact,
yes,
we should just do the table.
We may do that. We'll see what happens. Like I said, wood is not...
Protect those baby blues. She's worried about yours, not my eyes.
Who said that?
You know who.
Oh, Mom. She has brown eyes. They're not as sensitive to light.
Jen! Oh my gosh.
Okay, so let's switch over to Becca's laptop. Let's switch over to Becca's laptop. And I'll show you some things in Creative Space while that's cutting. The other thing that I don't really care for is in Creative Space, you can't really do anything else while that's cutting, so I just leave it alone. Another reason why I use use my iPad to start the files. So here's Creative Space. Has a lot of the same features that any of the design things have. This is the logo that Becca was using. You can import those. It's got shapes that you can create. Just some simple shapes if you want to cut things. One of the main features I want to show you guys in this is, and I haven't tested it without a device connected, but we'll see what happens. This may be an epic fail. It may work great. But with your device connected, XTool knows which device is connected. It knows what speed it can cut at. It knows what percentage of power it can cut at. So with that being said, one of the things that I recommend to everyone, and Rachel, if you want to switch back, these engraved test tools will save you tons of money. Yes, I had to spend $8 to get one test pattern, but now I never have to test this one again. I cut the test pattern. I found out that 90 and 60 were a great match, and that it cuts as clean and clear as it can be. And so what I always recommend, now this is harder with Yetis and things like that, because you're blowing more money on a bigger, on a bigger cup. $40, but $40 over screwing up 3 of these is $120 is way better. Everything you will ever read says they've got settings inside of them that you can start with. I don't trust them. I just don't. I create one of these. I look and see how I want, which one's my favorite, and that's what I go with. So we'll go over that right now. Switch over to Becca's. And one thing that I like to do is that, so that you kind of get what a curve, because a curve's going to look different than a straight line is when you're doing etching. So I will drop something like this teardrop in. Let's set it down a little smaller, 10 by 10. Now we select it. Like I said, it may not let me because of I can't because the device isn't connected. Shoot. I'll have to show you the test tool after this is done cutting. But anyway, there's an array over here that you can do a material test, and it will set all those settings for you. And we'll get back to that. But you can do vectors, just like you can with like Illustrator, things like that. It's easier in Illustrator. This doesn't get down as close to like little bitty points as you can in Illustrator. Becca, do you have any images we can import?
Sure.
Where can I find one that I can, like I don't want a regular.
Desktop.
I'm on the overhead, so if you accidentally hit something, okay.
Go
Let me know when to switch
to
back.
plot cut files. Go up.
Where?
That's all the OpenLAM cut files. So
Do you have one that's not an SVG? That's on. I want.
yeah, go to.
There's a PNG.
This
Okay,
is
you.
not an OpenLAM cut file. FYI, this is a trademarked image, so you will not find this on the website.
And I'm not cutting this. I'm just showing you how you can cut images.
Nobody come for us.
I am not cutting a file with this on it. I promise.
This is the 10 watt laser. You can put a 20 watt or a 40 watt on it, but it did come with the 10 watt.
So one thing that let me blow this up some so you can see it really good.
Fred definitely has a techie mind. Sometimes I glaze over when he talks to me, and I'm actually pretty techie.
So when cutting these, you can remember when you're etching a file, then you only have two colors. You got black and white basically. So you're not going to get these reds and things like that. But what you can do, switch this to black and white, and it will do a trace image like you can a lot in Illustrator. Mm-hmm. Like I said, these simple ones like this, it works really well. You can adjust these sliders to get the desired. You can zoom in at the corners and things. So you can see how this is kind of fuzzy. Make it as smooth as it'll come to. Once we've saved that, now we actually have a SVG or vector of that.
What?
That easy. And so now you can etch this. You can, because you can't score a JPEG, but you can score an SVG.
Score, for those of you who don't know,
Sure.
it does. You can cut score,
and
and
engrave.
engrave.
Yep.
So score means it basically just engraves the outer edges of the image.
So it'll be a really thin line, and it'll just be a line that's the width of the laser beam. And then cutting, obviously cutting goes all the way through, hopefully.
It said 20 minutes, but I swear this does not seem like it. It says 6 minutes left. No, time used.
Yeah, that's time used. That's the one other thing. I wish that, and XTool, if you're listening in your software, please leave the amount of time that you're estimating up there, because I forget all the time. And it's nowhere to be seen on this now that it's been processed and running. So like, do a countdown.
Or like a percentage, like 50% done. Or
Something
20,
like that.
whatever.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Although Cricut does that and it's never accurate. It says it's 100% finished and it still has like 12 passes.
It
Well, it's
does
like
that a lot.
Windows and copying files. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, oh, this file's huge. It's going to take 2 hours and 40
Roberta
hours.
said, I want to get an entry-level laser that's affordable and will do small wood letters and tumblers. What
Then-
would you suggest?
The XTool with like a 20 watt laser the XTool D1 Pro with a 20 watt laser would probably be perfect for you.
Which affordable means different things to different people. So
I think
totally up to
think
you.
the XTool with the 20 watt laser, you're probably looking at about 1,200.
which is still not bad.
No,
in the
I mean,
world
It's not
of lasers,
$6,000 for a
really.
Glowforge.
Cricut,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really not that much more.
Fred, Tricia wants to know if you've tried this on leather or on an iPad.
I have on leather, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I had a friend, and it's after Christmas, so I'm good. I had a friend who asked for me to cut some leather coasters for his wife for Christmas, and they turned out absolutely perfect. They were beautiful. It's so clean, and the cuts are nice and crisp. What was the other thing that they'd asked about?
An iPad.
I have not done an iPad. I'm too scared to do my iPad.
I have an old iPad. You can try it.
Okay, we'll try it on Becca's old iPad and see what happens.
You can do it on my laptop.
Because I've thought about doing it on my the back of my laptop, but
Do it on your laptop.
Do it.
I'll have an old laptop too. We can try it on the old one before we do it on that.
Sure.
Except that it's not.
we'll figure some stuff out and let you know for sure.
Is there a way to get 2 or more depths of the engraving? Like if I wanted the black outline around the red letters, you could do. Where's your little? So, not really. I mean, you could. It just wouldn't look as clean.
Yeah.
It's not that it would give like a gray versus a silver.
Yeah. So with stainless, the one thing that you run into is either it's going to be clean like those, or it's going to be not clean like you didn't get enough of the paint off, or it's going to be overburned and you get kind of a charred look on it. I have. Let's see if this one is the closest one I've ever done that actually had some different depth. You want to go overhead?
Yep.
This is for the CrossFit gym that I go to, but this rose, you can kind of see that was a bit image that I was able to get a little bit of depth in different areas, and it shows some some stuff in the actual stainless steel as well.
So that Roberta said. So that's the X2D1, right? That's the one that you recommend.
XTool D1 Pro. That's their entry level one. They have an M1. I haven't looked at it, so I can't let you know. I don't even know if the rotary tool works with it. And if the rotary tool, 100% get the RA2 Pro. 100%. Don't get. So one thing that if you look at this test pattern, you can kind of see. I hope you can. You might be able to see that. You can see that it's kind of skewed this way. This was because it was on a roller, and as it went back and forth, it shifted. But if you look at this line that I did around this cup, this was with the chuck, and it is 100% all the way around, and there's no, I mean, you can see that it lined up perfect. Absolutely amazing with the chuck.
Scott did his laptop. I was too scared as I need mine for work. Kat, the only thing, because I have messed one up before. It happens to be mine. And the only thing it did was it like skipped, and so it did like the top of the image and then like moved. I think somebody hit it and then it moved, and so the rest of the image was like.
Ouch. Yeah, because the Glowforge touts like on their
There's a setting for
for
your
laptops.
laptop, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen a setting for laptops on this one on XTool. I don't know that they.
Well, and you've probably already
endorse
said
it.
it. Like if you go to the XTool Facebook groups or whatever and get settings from people, a lot of times they don't put whether they're using a 10 watt or a 20 watt.
Very
or
much so.
40
Be
watt.
very careful about that.
And it absolutely makes a difference.
Yeah, because like I was saying, the power is in a percentage. So if you get 40 watts, that's at 100%. That's different than 10 watts at 100%.
For more intricate wood cutouts, engraving, etc., what's your recommendation? Still the
If you're going to, so here's the thing with the 40 watt laser, the beam is wider, so it's not going to be as precise as like the infrared, the 5 watt or the 10 watt. It's not, the 10 watts are not going to cut as well, but you're going to get a finer point than you would with a 40 watt because it's a wider beam.
But the 40 watt would, for what you're going to be doing as far as crafting and stuff,
I would say the 40 watt will be
totally
fine.
with a 40 watt. Because the Glowforge is a
55, I think,
yeah,
right?
so it's even bigger.
And it's a 55
Yeah.
watt CO2.
right.
As someone who's been to the dentist about 30 times in the past 6 months, this smells just like when someone shaves my teeth down. If you
Does
want to
smell
know
like
the
that.
smell, that's the smell.
If I don't win today, I'm going to see if they have after. Oh, we're not giving away an XTool. I wish we could give away an XTool. That
Me
would-
too. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we're giving away the cup. You might win it, Christina.
So
If XTool wants to give us another laser, we can give another laser away.
oh heck yeah. Rachel, let's switch back to my laptop. I want to show them some more like power user type things that I've learned in not in XTool, but in Lightburn. Give you a little glimpse of Lightburn. Lightburn is, like I said, as far as creating cut files and things like that, is way better than XTool, or the Creative Space, sorry. So one thing that I've been playing with, and I don't know how many of you all have ever done, me being an IT person and being having to do all kinds of IT work with software and everything.
He means he's a nerd.
Yes, that's exactly right. But I have, if you've ever played with a mail merge, where you're doing labels for mailing out mass things, and you can put all of the people's names, addresses, things like that into a spreadsheet, and then open up like Microsoft Word or something like that, and actually put in just placeholders for their name and things like that, so that you hit the print button and it goes through the spreadsheet and just prints them, instead of you having to create every label that you did. Well, in Lightburn, they have a really cool feature that is very similar to that. So as you see here, I have a heart. Say I was doing some dog tags or something for a big customer, and they wanted different names on all of them. So I created the heart, and then I created this text box. And when you click on the text boxes, there is a setting over here that is a normal, it's a date, and so the date would change every time you cut it to the current date, or you want to use a merge in an SVG. So I have a file that I created that says comma separated, that's CSV stands for comma separated values. So you put name, comma, address, comma, whatever, comma, and it knows that those are the different cells in your spreadsheet, and each, that would be columns, and each row is like a row in a spreadsheet. So what I did was I created this, and I told it that I wanted to do a merge in an SVG, and then you do a %0. %0 means it's the very first column, %1 means it's the next column, %2, and so on and so forth. And now, instead of having to go in and type every one of the names in here, make sure they're centered, all that stuff, I center this one. I tell it that I'm using the file names.csv, and I want to start on number 1, because in my file it has the row or the columns named. So if I started at column 0, or at the 0 one, then it would actually put name instead of somebody's name. Once I've done that, then I can create an array with this. So let's do I think I have 9 names in here, so we'll do a 9 by 9 or a 3 by 3. Once I've got that, then I can drag this onto my laser. If I hit test, you can see that's what's going to actually be output to the laser instead of that %0. It's actually going to pull their names from the file and dump it in. So, and the other thing is, like, if you don't want to try to learn these settings for the laser from Lightburn, you can save this out as an SVG from Lightburn, dump it into Creative Space, and burn it from there. Do we have any questions, Rachel?
Melissa just says, I didn't know you could do that. So amazing. Thank you for showing us. That will make my life so much easier.
It's definitely nice so that you don't have to create every one of those, for sure.
And Stacey said, great information, a bit overwhelming at the moment. And Stacey,
Sorry.
I do want to mention too, I know Fred is in the same boat, but like when we were handed our crickets and we were like, okay, learn these, it is so overwhelming. And when Fred, we gave Fred the next one, we were like, have fun with it. I'm sure he was overwhelmed too. And Fred wishes he had training he could go to when he got his XTool. There's just not that much out there. So you can always reference this video whenever you purchase your XTool, or anybody out there that just kind of needs that, because I mean, that's what we want to give you at Oak and Lamb, is we want you guys to be confident, we want you guys to be well-rounded, and to be able to ask questions. So lives like these are perfect.
You're gonna make mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. It gives you cups to test on.
And I don't want to say that we're going to do this, but if we had enough people who had XTools.
Okay, I think your mic is pointed down.
It is.
See your heaven.
My boobs have a lot to say.
Oh my gosh.
If we had enough people who had XTools and XTools sent other things and things like that, like, we could definitely make
I would love to make courses.
a course for
It would be so much fun.
for the XTool. Yeah, so if you all get them, obviously, like, that's what we're here for. We want to give you content that you find valuable and useful, but it wouldn't be a good use of our time if only 5 or so people have
right.
the XTool.
Right.
And if anybody wants to get me an S1 or a P2, I would be glad to go through and do videos for those too.
Shocker.
Fallon hates the smell. She came down. She thinks it's terrible.
Did she shut the door up there?
Well, she came down to ask if she could play on her iPad, and I told her no.
Was she bad? Was she
Of course
grounded?
she's mad at me, yeah. Fallon lives mad at me. It's very fun. Very fun.
I think it's a daughter thing.
Better than calling you dumb like she did last week.
Sure.
Well, she didn't say you're dumb. She just said you're not smart,
Yeah.
which
Wow.
was funny.
She also told everybody at Chapman's birthday party that I told somebody that I lied to my children. I was like, I never said that. And then she did something like this. Mommy knows what this means. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, you do. Remember, it means I really like it. I'm like, you have lost your mind.
Listen, she
She
was
made
hopped
me-
up. She was hopped up on the sugar.
Can you switch over to this real quick, Rachel?
To the overhead?
Yes, please. So if you were going to mass produce this cup, this is homed right where the last one was. So if you can get the cup out, like you can be very careful, you can unscrew this, get the cup out, put another cup right back in, push the button. You don't even have to load it again. You push the button again and
Wouldn't
it will
have to do anything in
Really?
the
No,
software.
nothing in the software. Push the button again. It's already loaded in there, and it will take off and do another one.
You can just do that as many times as you want.
Exactly. Just keep pushing the button and like just be careful not to hit the laser. The other thing that I've done is I've taken a framing square or a quick square like this, and have marked on the laser with a pencil where the head and the arm were, and that way I can line it back up.
You could make sure.
Another cool trick is if you have the R2 or the RA2 and don't have a jig like this, which I 100% recommend making. There's a guy on Etsy who sells them, sells the cut file for these. Do something to where this is easier to get in and out, because you need to make sure that it is square to this arm, because if it's not square to the arm, you're going to get a crooked etching on the.
Well, also, you don't run the risk of accidentally moving it.
That's also true. Another cheat to do if you don't have this is take one of these framing squares and put it up against the edge of the RA2 and pull the arm up to it. That way you know it is square with the arm. You put it here, pull it up, put it here, pull it up, and it'll be square with the arm every time.
Can you use Lightburn without the laser to learn the program first?
Yes, you can. It does cost money, so if you're not going, Lightburn is not free. If you're going to get Lightburn, I think it's $30 if I remember right.
A one-time fee?
No.
30 a month.
It's $30 for a year of upgrades. So you can buy it, get the pay $30, and then if you don't care about upgrading to any of the new features or anything like that they release, then $30 and you're one and done.
That's not bad.
If you continue to want to do the upgrades, then it's $30 every year, which still isn't
it's
bad.
not that bad. And if you're using it as a business, it's a tax write-off.
Yep.
Can you export files? Like if you create a file in Lightburn, can you export it to sell the file?
You can export SVGs from Lightburn.
Nice.
So here's what we're going to do now. This is done. So we're going to take this out, and everybody's going to think, wow, that doesn't look great, because it doesn't. There's a secret step that some people tell you about, some people don't tell you about. Rachel, if you'll go overhead, and
Absolutely.
you can see it kind of looks like we just rubbed on it a little bit, and it's not very shiny. You can see the difference between this logo and this logo. That is the soot that was from the paint that we have etched off. Now, there's a trick that I use that I've learned from several people online. Get the cheap, I mean like Walmart brand magic erasers. I cut them in half because I use so many of them, it makes it even cheaper. Get this, isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and Barkeeper's Friend. So what we're gonna do now is we'll take a little isopropyl alcohol, and I know you guys can't see me, I'll try my best. I don't wanna put it over here next to the laser.
I'll go front camera because they can see it back there.
Okay, perfect. So I take this, put a little bit of this on here, and then just take this, and almost immediately you can see.
Yeah, that looks incredible.
So this is with just the alcohol. You can see a difference.
Wow.
Then you take a little bit of this water and a little barkeeper's friend. You can get this at Walmart. Just very, very little of it. It's just a little bit of an abrasive compound. And then just take it and rub it right where try not to, you can rub it on the paint. It won't hurt the paint, but if you're really rubbing, try to rub the metal instead of the paint.
Because that's what you're trying to get clean.
Exactly. That's what you're trying to get clean anyway. And then just rinse this off. Use a little Dawn dish soap or whatever dish soap you use. And now, I don't have a towel. I forgot to bring a towel. There was a paper towel just a second ago. Where was it?
Are the risers necessary?
For what?
Yes.
So if you're
doing tumblers, yes.
If you're doing tumblers, 100%, because there's that, or you need something that is. You give me a couple more. I want to set this on. There you go. If you're doing tumblers, yes, or you can find something that is. I've seen people use Legos, the same stack Lego blocks, but you have to get it high enough to where the laser can focus on the tumbler. And now with the little barkeeper's friend and the alcohol, you guys can see. There's our
That looks incredible.
shiny oak and lamb logo.
And guys, you can buy like a pack of 100 melamine sponges on Amazon for absolutely dirt cheap and cut them up like Fred did. So that'll be like super cheap.
And that's how easy this is. Now, was it frustrating at first? Yeah. Obviously, this cup. But now, I cut so many of these at Christmas, it wasn't even funny. Like, my Christmas present list was easy. I just figured something out and cut cups for everybody.
And people love cups.
I love
no matter
cups.
how many cups you see, if you go out and you're at a place and you want to remember it, you're always like, oh, I need a cup. Do you need a cup? No, you don't need one, but you want it.
Especially get it with their name on it. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves something.
A
with their
great
name
way.
on it.
Throw some Hershey Kisses, throw some candy in it, a gift card. That's a perfect gift.
Another thing that I did this year for Christmas too is with the RA2, it comes with a pair of, they look like, or not a pair, but a set of jewelry holders. And I was able to do these, I got these, it's like a 6-pack or 12-pack at Walmart for $3. And these are glass ornaments that we just cut the paint off of, basically. And that's just another, and make sure you put the right year. Don't be 10 years behind and then cut like 6 of these. And then let your niece break yours.
Yeah. The tumbler looks fantastic. Please spell my name correctly on it.
I was trying to think. So some more things. If these don't fit the tumbler that you're using, there are several different arms. They've got these arms here that have their step down that you can use. If the tumbler doesn't fit and the mouth is wide enough, you can turn these around and actually spread them out inside the mouth of the cup to hold it. They give you all kinds of, these are the things I was talking about for the ornaments. You put these on and then pull it down on the top of the ornament and
like this?
Exactly. Well, there's 3 of them. And
Did you take this off when you did it?
Yeah, I did. Another thing that I didn't mention, but I will talk about real quick just so that you know, is if you have a tumbler like this one. See that this one has the flat spot and this. So you can either grip it here, or, like I said, you can grip it on this side. If you're trying to get more of a wrap or something around the whole thing, you can grip it down here, and that way the arms stay out of the space. The thing that you need to remember is, even if you grip it down here, the perimeter that you put into creative space is the perimeter that you are cutting, because that's the distance that the laser is going to have to travel. So even if you grip it down here at the small part, the distance is still the big part.
So if you're going all the way around, it doesn't move itself. Do you move it?
What's that?
If you're cutting all the way around this.
It just
This rotates itself?
That's how it works, is it rotates. That's how it did this. It just barely spun it like it was moving. But yeah, no, it will go all the, it'll do 360 degrees.
Well, that's cool. Makes me want to rethink my design.
Now, I will tell you that wraps are tough. Use the blue painter's tape to test your wraps, because then you don't waste a cup. Don't engrave it, just score it. Find a score setting for your blue painter's tape, and unfortunately, all the blue painter's tape are different, and they have a different place where they will actually burn through. Another thing that I've seen people do, wrap an aluminum foil first, then put the blue painter's tape on. That way the beam's reflected and it won't cut through into the actual paint of the cup.
Megan said, Fred, how do you feel about an all-expense-paid vacation to South Dakota to come teach me all of this?
I've never been to South Dakota. I don't know.
You got any beer?
So let's show the test now that I've got the laser back. So we can actually do the test with this is another really cool thing. You can actually do the test with the thing that you're going to cut. So we'll turn this back up, and let's bring it down just a little bit and tell it that we're going to engrave. These settings don't matter right now because it's going to change all of them anyway. So we're going to do an engrave, and then we're going to do an array, a materials test array. So it knows that it can do 100% power and 10% minimum power, and it also knows that the fastest that it can go is 180 or 10. And so once I've done that, I hit OK, and now I have my materials test, and it will cut each one of these. If you take this and break it apart, you break it apart like you do in about any other program, just ungroup it. But if you look at the engraving settings on this one, you'll see it's at 10% and 180. If you look at this one, it's at 33% and 180. All of them are different. It just builds you a matrix that you can do your test cuts with. Makes
so
it a whole lot easier.
you're going to want to do that on whatever you engrave. Like if you're doing wood, if you're doing leather, if you're doing
100%.
these tumblers, if you do a different brand of tumblers,
Yes.
or a different color, you're going to want to do test cuts.
That's another thing. Blue and white will not cut the same as any of the other colors because this is a blue light diode. The wavelength, the blue, you have to cut it slower to get it to go through. And blue and white have been awful. To get these done, like I said, I had to do a different test for this. So for example, on these, I use 60% power at 90 speed. So what you want to try to find is the place that's the cleanest, that's the fastest as well. So that if you're trying to pump a bunch of these out, you're not running, at a slower speed and it taking you longer to cut these. But like I said, this one was 60 and 90. And for the white, I ended up having to use, I believe I used 39 and 55. So it was a totally different setting for the white tumblers than it was for the black tumblers.
Megan says she has 2 beer fridges, so you're good there.
All right, cool.
Yeah. We'll all come to Megan's house for training in beer. Okay, so yes, we are going to give this away. So we're just going to do it randomly. If you guys want this tumbler, let us know by leaving a comment. I will pause the feed, pick a random. You can put beer cans in this, right? Like tall,
sure,
like the skinny ones. And
I don't see why not.
Coffee and this is cute. This is real cute. You had me at laser cutter, but now I need the 40-watt cutter. Here's my credit card. Just take all my money. Right, I know. Make sure.
Can I buy 2?
Make sure if you're purchasing that you use our affiliate link. We do get a kickback from that. Pick me. Melissa wants it. Yes. It looks so good. It does. Cute tumbler. Yep. So once you all get going, we'll do that. We are going to give another one away, so Fred's going to have to cut another one. You don't have to do it today. To people who are watching afterwards, so I know we're live right now, and then the way that you can win, let's see, what is today? The 28th. We'll give this away. We'll let this run for a week. So what, next Thursday, the 4th, I'll announce. If you want this, then what you're going to do is share the content. Share it on your Facebook, on your Instagram, however you want to share it, and then come back and make sure that you post a comment here on the news feed saying that you did share it. I could use this for a wedding we have coming up. Yeah, you could, Roberta, absolutely.
A cool thing that I did see that I have never tried yet, my sister-in-law makes macaroons and she does them for weddings. I have seen people take these and put in laser etched like Mr. and Mrs. or the bride and groom's name on the macaroons before they set them out.
That would
That's
be
so
really
cool.
cute. And because it's not an enclosed, like there's a lot of stigma about doing that with like enclosed glow forges because you've cut it with acrylic and other things. Because this isn't enclosed, you don't really have that issue.
Yeah, exactly. And you just clean this shield real well, clean out the nozzle, and I mean, it's food safe at that point. One thing that I did want to mention, Becca mentioned Stanleys. The great thing about Stanleys with these, with the handles like this handle has an Allen screw in the end of it that you can unscrew this and pop it right off. That way it makes it to where it'll rotate all the way around and you don't have to worry about it. These Yetis, it's problematic to not hit the handle on the laser head or on the base, but what they are releasing now is it's an extension that kind of stands it up off of the table for the RA2 Pro that will allow the handle to rotate all the way around, except you still just got to be careful about hitting the laser head.
Fred, I love how prepared you were today. You've done an excellent job.
Thank you.
Everyone's talking about how well you've done.
So
And how
thorough
they want you to
and
come
clear.
back and have a regular spot on the channel. You might be booting me and Rachel out.
You're too good of a teacher. Everything is so clear and concise. I understand it. Even I get it, Fred.
Christina Mendez, you are the winner of the tumbler. Meg, I do have your address, but if you could help me out and just email me hello@oakenlane.com with your shipping address, that will
It's like a reminder. It's like a
remind
sticky
me
note.
to send it. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
Now
so
you're my
much.
best friend?
He is a fickle puppy.
Yes, he is. He was
Fickle.
growling at me earlier.
He's so ferocious.
So main things, guys, as we're wrapping up, if you know, a tape measure like this is valuable. I have 4 of them because I leave them laying everywhere and forget where I've put them. So I have one that stays out at my laser, one that stays on my desk so that while I'm designing I can get the measurements of cups. And there's several tricks that I've learned with centering things like this. This right here has something on the front and the back, and there's tricks that you can do to make sure that those are centered from each other. At some point I can come back and show you guys those. There's a lot. I still have a ton that I want to talk about, but I know we don't have a whole lot of time. This
That
little,
just means you'll have to come back, Fred.
and I'll be glad to. This little level is invaluable as well when it comes to this. You know, make sure your laser is level, make sure that the cup is level, and it will cut a whole lot cleaner, and the image will come out a lot better.
Have you tried an M1? I have it, but I haven't had a chance to dive in it fully.
I have
24
not.
Goals. If they want to send one, we'll do it. Fred needs an apron for his tape measure like Becca. We can make that happen.
I still would leave it laying, I promise you.
Tape measure hoarding apparently runs in the family. Who knew?
And 100%, guys, do not, like, you can switch these things to inches. Don't. It's so much easier with this because now instead of having to say 1 3/8 and putting that into here, then you can say it's, you know, it's 4 centimeters, and then these individual ones would be millimeters, so it would be 45, 46, 47 millimeters. It's a whole lot easier. There's no decimals.
We have requests for monthly segments and bi-weekly segments. Mom's handle comes off for Yeti. She wanted you to know.
I will cut your Yeti. You just got to tell me what to cut on it.
No, I'm going to tell you what to cut on it. She wanted some stupid design.
Mom, she's going to tell me what you want on it, and then we'll cut it.
Lenny, why are you shivering?
I did make you an ornament.
Shy. Did someone break hers?
Nope. Anna's is broke. Becca's is broke.
Those darn kids. I mean, just didn't even think, just picked it up and went like it was a ball and it would bounce.
Kind of looks like a ball.
Yes. Yay, I got my XTool connected. Thank you for the inspiration, Fran. Amazing.
Yes. Awesome.
I love to hear that, honestly. You would not believe how many people will buy the machines and then just have them sit there. Whether that's Cricut, whether that's an XTool Glowforge, whatever. Me for an embroidery machine. I'm guilty of it too. But, you know, do you want to know what inspired me to get it out? you all. So many of you were like, it's so easy. You just plug it in and blah, blah, blah. And it really was that easy. The hardest part is getting over the mental
That's exactly right.
obstacle that you can't do it. Because if we can do it, you can do it. It's that simple.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of making mistakes because you're gonna. So there's no sense in being afraid of it.
It's good to have them. You learn from them.
You learn more from
Yeah.
mistakes than you do from successes. That is very true.
She needs a quilt block on her Yeti. Melissa, yeah, I'm going to do something cute like that. And then with Nana on it or something, I'll make a special design for her. She wanted something generic. We just can't do that. You can't have a graphic designer as a daughter and have a generic graphic.
And then we got to see what Becca's going to do on her cup.
I already know what I'm doing.
Oh. I thought you said you were going to redesign it.
Yeah, I decided not to. So if you all like this content, let us know. Reach out to XTool. Tell them to send some other stuff. I mean, we'll do it obviously as well, but from you all is even better. We would love to. We would love to give more content for you all for this. If you like this content, you'll like our other content as well. If you want graphics to use for laser cutters, for die cut machines, for sublimation, our membership is for you. We have a special code. Use the code JINGLE, JINGLE, for $45 off our annual membership, which makes it like $154. Super cheap. It's less than $13 a month. Math is hard.
And if you're going to be doing these cuttings and stuff like that, get Becca's Illustrator course. I learned things that I didn't know from Becca's Illustrator course, so 100% would say get it.
Yeah, he texted me and he was like, do you have a course that teaches how to make cut files or a video? And I was like, yep, yep-a-do, yep-a-do. Here it is.
It's really good.
Did I give it to you, the whole thing?
I would assume so.
You can have it. I posted saying in my craft area, your best teacher is your last mistake. It's true. It's
Very
absolutely true. Anywho, thank you all for being here.
Yeah,
thank you
you
for such an amazing, warm welcome for Fred's first live. He did amazing. I know he'll be back because I'm going to make him. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure that you come live with us Sunday night. We'll be live at 6 p.m., Rachel, Eastern. Yep. For a fun New Year's Eve live. And enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week.
Thanks.